On January 10th, 2026, President Donald Trump quietly introduced a massive economic plan dubbed the Mega Bill 2.0. Headlines quickly labeled it a housing revolution and a massive tax relief measure designed to benefit American families. On the surface, it promises fairness, financial resets, and opportunities to reclaim your economic footing. But here's the reality. Money doesn't respond to slogans or press conferences. It responds to incentives. And when incentives change, consequences follow, often quietly, unevenly, and sometimes painfully for ordinary people. Imagine waking up on January 20th, 2026, and realizing the rules of money in America just changed overnight. Not gradually, not quietly, instantly. We're not talking about a minor tax tweak or a small interest adjustment. This is a sweeping, system-wide overhaul that affects your mortgage, your investments, and even the money you thought was safe in your retirement accounts. Today, we're breaking down exactly what this new economic overhaul could mean for your finances, the real impacts, the hidden risks, and the subtle shifts that could quietly affect your credit, investments, and retirement, all explained clearly, without hype or confusing jargon. I'm the Asian Girl, and if you've ever worried about your financial safety net, you need to hear this. Most people operate under the misconception that sweeping federal policies like Mega Bill 2.0 only impact the towering skyscrapers of Wall Street, billionaire investors, or massive commercial banks. However, that perspective couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, every single mortgage you sign, every dollar in your 401k, and every brokerage account you manage interacts directly with these systemic rules. When financial incentives are rewritten at the top, banks and investment managers don't wait for the ink to dry. They act immediately to protect their bottom lines, often shifting their terms before a law is even officially passed. For individuals over the age of 50, this is a critical juncture. At this stage of life, you likely prioritize financial flexibility and capital preservation over high-risk growth. These subtle shifts in the rules of money matter enormously because small percentage changes in interest, taxes, or credit access can compound into tens of thousands of dollars over time. Understanding this dynamic is no longer optional. It is essential for protecting your lifestyle, securing your retirement planning, and maintaining the emergency preparedness you've worked decades to build. The primary pillar of Mega Bill 2.0 is a massive initiative titled Making the American Dream Affordable Again, which introduces two radical shifts in the residential real estate market. The first is the Donald Down Payment Program, an FHA-backed initiative designed to lower the barrier to entry by offering zero or extremely low down payment options. While the traditional 3.5% FHA requirement was already accessible, this new program aims to eliminate the cash poor hurdle for many Americans. However, this comes with a hidden risk. Lower down payments often lead to higher monthly mortgage insurance premiums and a higher total loan cost over time. If you are over 50 and considering downsizing or assisting a child with their first purchase, this program is a powerful tool, but it requires meticulous calculation to ensure the long-term interest doesn't outweigh the short-term benefit. Complementing this is the introduction of portable mortgages, a game changer for market liquidity. This allows you to port your current, likely much lower interest rate from your existing home to a new property. For example, if you are currently locked into a 3% rate but need to move for work or family, you no longer have to sacrifice that rate for a current market average of 7%. You simply take the 3% with you. While this prevents rate lock-in, the trade-off is that equity often builds more slowly on these newly structured extended-term loans. For the over 50 demographic, the decision becomes a balance between the immediate monthly cash flow benefits of a lower rate versus the slower accumulation of home equity that would eventually be passed down as an inheritance. Perhaps the most significant technical change in the bill is the proposal for inflation-adjusted capital gains. Historically, investors have been penalized by phantom gains, where the value of an asset rises simply because the dollar has lost purchasing power. Under Mega Bill 2.0, if your investment portfolio grows by 50% during a period where inflation was 30%, you would no longer be taxed on the full growth. Instead, the IRS would only tax you on the real 20% gain. For the buy-and-hold investor, this acts as a robust shield, ensuring that your hard-earned wealth isn't eroded by the government taking a cut of inflationary noise. Consider a $500,000 retirement nest egg that grows to $750,000. With 30% inflation, your taxable gain would plummet from $250,000 to just $100,000. For someone on the cusp of retirement, this single adjustment could save upwards of $45,000 in taxes, providing a substantial boost to your actual spending power during your golden years. Looking toward the future of the American family, the bill introduces Trump accounts starting July 4, 2026. This initiative jumpstarts generational wealth by gifting every eligible child a $1,000 seed investment directly into S&P 500 index funds. To encourage further growth, parents are permitted to contribute up to $5,000 annually, and employers are incentivized to provide matching contributions that do not count toward the employee's taxable income. The ultimate goal is to harness the power of compounding interest from the moment of birth. For grandparents and parents over 50, this represents a sophisticated new mechanism for legacy planning. It allows you to help build a tax-advantage safety net for your heirs that, given a 50 to 60-year horizon, could transform a small initial gift into a life-changing financial foundation for your grandchildren. Beyond investments and housing, Mega Bill 2.0 addresses the two biggest threats to a stable retirement: healthcare costs and estate taxes. The bill significantly expands health savings accounts, HSAs, giving retirees more latitude to save and spend tax-free on medical care. Furthermore, it mandates hospital price transparency, forcing providers to list the actual costs of procedures upfront to eliminate the dreaded surprise bill that can devastate a retirement fund. Simultaneously, the bill permanently repeals estate, gift, and generation-skipping transfer taxes, which historically could take a sizable portion of wealth from heirs. This change means that assets can now compound over generations with fewer barriers, allowing your legacy to grow uninterrupted. For over 50 individuals, this is a critical opportunity. Reviewing estate plans, trusts, and wills now can help leverage these advantages to reduce costs for heirs, preserve liquidity, and ensure that wealth transfers happen smoothly. Strategic planning might involve setting up multi-generational trusts or coordinating charitable giving to ensure your family fully benefits from the wealth you've worked decades to build. Now, why does this matter even more for people over 50? At this stage of life, credit isn't for splurging on gadgets or vacations. It's a lifeline, a bridge to cover emergencies, medical bills, home repairs, or timing gaps in taxes. Shrinking credit lines, cutting rewards, or adding new fees can make a previously reliable financial tool suddenly unreliable. Think of it like this. You've spent decades building a sturdy boat, and the waters were calm. The 10% cap is a sudden storm. You patch a few holes, but if your bank shrinks your line, raises fees, or changes terms unexpectedly, that lifeboat could sink, and nobody told you it was coming. Historical perspective. In the 1970s, states imposed usury caps, limiting interest to 15%. Banks responded by stopping card issuance or moving lending to other states. The 1978 Supreme Court case, Marquette Nat. Bank versus First of Omaha allowed banks to apply home state interest rates nationwide, completely reshaping credit. Interest caps shift behavior, often in unexpected ways. A lesson over 50 viewers should heed carefully. Under the Make America Skilled Again, MASA initiative, the bill consolidates various workforce programs and earmarks 10% of grants specifically for apprenticeships. The goal is to create 1 million tech and skilled trade apprenticeships, shifting the focus away from traditional degrees toward practical, industry-aligned skills. While this benefits tech and construction, a 1.6B cut from other workforce programs could reduce support for some existing services. For those over 50 exploring second careers or upskilling, it is vital to strategize the timing and training paths to ensure you are maximizing these new practical skill benefits while they are at their peak funding. Now let's talk about a major headline: the proposed 10% cap on credit card interest rates. At first glance, this looks like a win for consumers. But for people over 50, the reality is more complicated. At this stage of life, credit isn't for splurging. It's a lifeline for emergencies, medical bills, or home repairs. When interest caps are enforced, banks often respond by tightening credit. The reality check. Imagine you carry a $10,000 balance at 24%. When the cap hits 10%, you save $1,400 a year. That's great. But if the bank responds by cutting your credit line from $20,000 down to $10,000, you lose your buffer. If a $12,000 medical emergency hits, you no longer have the credit to cover it. You might be forced toward shadow lenders or payday loans where interest can balloon to 400% APR. Historical perspective shows us that in the 1970s, when states tried to cap interest, banks simply stopped issuing cards or moved their operations. For those over 50, the lesson is clear. Don't just rely on headline relief. You must have multiple contingency plans in place because when the banks feel the squeeze, they pass it on through reduced rewards, higher fees, or lower credit limits. Banks may tighten credit in response to interest caps, pushing borrowers to shadow lenders. $1,000 loan can balloon to $4,000 at 400% APR. Hidden risks affect vulnerable households. Incentives drive behavior. Regulations can't always prevent unintended consequences. Over 50s should diversify safety nets and plan for these scenarios. So, now that you understand the sweeping changes in Megabill 2.0, what should you actually do to protect yourself and your family? First, don't wait for the law to pass. Act on expectations. If you currently have credit lines, consider locking them in or using them strategically while banks are still approving existing accounts. Diversifying your financial safety net is critical. Cash reserves, liquid investments, and credit options all play a role. For credit cards, aim for low utilization, around 10%, to maintain flexibility without paying unnecessary fees. Next, maximize retirement contributions while you still can. With new catch-up options and higher limits for 401ks and IRAs, over 50s can accelerate tax-advantaged growth and hedge against market volatility. Healthcare planning is equally urgent. Expanding HSAs and price transparency rules are tools you can leverage today. Max out contributions to your HSA. Think of it as a tax-free life jacket for unexpected medical expenses. Combine that with careful budgeting under the new transparency rules, and you can avoid the shock of surprise bills that could range from $50,000 to $100,000. It's not just about having insurance. It's about controlling your out-of-pocket risk and knowing what each procedure will cost before you ever step into a hospital. Estate planning and wealth preservation are another area where immediate action pays off. With the repeal of estate, gift, and generation-skipping transfer taxes, over 50 viewers have a unique window to reassess strategies and lock in advantages for their heirs. Now is the time to work with advisors to ensure liquidity, minimize costs, and structure multi-generational wealth transfers efficiently. Even small adjustments now could save tens of thousands or more for your family down the road. Finally, think of this as a financial drill, not a panic. Megabill 2.0 shifts incentives system-wide, and institutions act faster than legislation. By preparing early, diversifying assets, maintaining liquidity, maximizing tax-advantaged accounts, and understanding healthcare and estate planning strategies, you ensure that your financial lifeboat remains sturdy, even when the storm hits. Knowledge, timing, and planning are your best defenses. The more proactive you are today, the less likely you are to be caught off guard tomorrow. Bottom line, Megabill 2.0 is the most sweeping financial proposal in decades. 0% down payments, portable mortgages, inflation-shielded investments, and tax-free legacy building. Knowledge protects wealth. Staying informed makes the difference between financial resilience and costly surprises. I'm the Asian girl, bringing clarity to the decisions quietly shaping your money. Remember, knowledge is cheap, panic is expensive, and Megabill 2.0 is already moving before most of us even realize it. Don't get caught off guard. Stay informed, stay ahead, and I'll see you in the next one. And seriously, drink some water. You've earned it.
Click here to watch another video. YouTube picked it out for you based on what you like watching.